All right, 8.4.2, we're going to take a look at just continuing with solving with factoring. So first three problems here, we're going to be setting up our big X. The next problem, we are going to be factoring. And then we have two problems where we are, one problem where we're putting the equation into standard form. And then four problems where we are solving the quadratic by factoring. So each one of these is just a piece. All of the pieces fit together to make the whole thing. So the first thing we're working with, 8 and 6. So the factors of 8 are 1 and 8. 2 times 4. And 2 times 4 does make 6. All right, 2 times 4 makes 8. 2 plus 4 makes 6. So 2 and 4 would be our numbers there. For negative 8, eight minus 1 could make 7. So we have 8 and 1. And one of these signs needs to be negative. I'm going to look at my bottom number and my bigger out of the two. So 8 and 1, 8 is bigger. My bigger number will have the same sign as my bottom number. So this will be a negative 8 and a positive 1. And then for 100, if you were to list these out, 1 and 100, 2 and 50, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, 6 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, 8 doesn't work, 9 doesn't work, 10 and 10. The only combination here that can get us to 20 is 10 and 10. Okay, so when factoring, we fill out our big X. We take our last number, and that goes on top. We take our middle number, and that goes on the bottom. So this will be a positive 10 and a positive 7, and that's going to be 2 times 5. So we write our answer as X as two groups. The first group, X plus 2. The second group, X plus 5. The 2 and 5 come from here. We use the middle term in front, so X. Okay, and then writing the equation in standard form. Standard form means it needs to say equals 0. So right now it equals 4x. I don't want to find out what x is to equal 4x. I want to find out what x is when it equals 0. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And I'll rewrite everything over here. Negative x squared plus 8x, that's 12 minus 4, minus 14, equals 0 now because 4x and 4x cancel out. So this would be my answer in delta math. Negative x squared plus 8x minus 14 equals 0. And that's for writing the quadratic equation in standard form. If we're solving the quadratic by factoring, we're going to write the equation in standard form first. So we have to make sure it says equals 0. And then once it equals 0, then we're going to factor using our big X. So just so I have room, I'm going to rewrite this over to the side. I'm working with x squared plus 14x equals 2x minus 32. So the first thing, I need to get this side to say equals 0. In order to get it to equal 0, I'm going to have to move my 2x by subtracting it to both sides, and this 32 by adding it to both sides. That will get those to cancel out to equal 0. And then on my left side, I have x squared plus 12x, that's 14 minus 2, plus 32. Excuse me. Now that it says equals 0, we can use our big X. 32 is going on top, 12 is going on the bottom. and that would be 8 times 4. So we're going to say x plus 8 times x plus 4 equals 0. And now we're setting each one of these equal to 0. So x plus 8 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. We can subtract 8 from both sides to find that x equals negative 8. Subtract 4 from both sides to find that x equals negative 4. The way you would write your answer in Delta Math is you're just going to list negative 8, comma, negative 4. Those are both your answers. So you're listing them and separating them with a comma. All right, so this one we're going to set equal to 0, so we can add 6 to both sides. That's going to give us x squared minus 12x plus 27 now, because 21 plus 6, and then that equals 0 because those cancel out. We'll put 27 on top and negative 12 on the bottom. And let's see, it should be negative 9 times negative 3. You can use the chart. I'm just doing them in my head, but negative 9 minus 3 makes a negative 12. Negative 9 times negative 3 makes a positive 27. So if you have a positive on top, you have to have the same signs on the sides. So we know that this thing can be rewritten as x minus 9 times x minus 3. Again, this means the same exact thing as this. It's just two different forms. So the same way if you have a $20 bill is the same as having two $10 bills. If I have this, is the same value as this. It's just written differently. And then we can solve each x value here. So we set it equal to 0. X minus 9 equals 0. And x minus 3 equals 0. We add 9 to both sides. X can equal 9. We can add 3 to both sides. And x can equal 3. So 9 comma 3. All right, we're just continuing to practice this. For this one, I need it to say equal 0, so I'm going to move this 8x by subtracting it to both sides. X squared's not changing. 15x minus 8x makes positive 7x, and negative 18 doesn't change, so minus 18. Now that it says equals 0, I'm going to put my negative 18 on top, my positive 7 on the bottom, and that would be a positive 9 times a negative 2. So we can rewrite this. We can rewrite this piece as x plus 9 times x minus 2 equals 0. So x plus 9 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, and we solve each. X equals negative 9, or x equals positive 2. So I'll list my answers, 9 comma 2. Oh, negative 9 comma 2. If you notice, all of our answers end up being the opposite of our side numbers. That's a pattern that happens when we don't have any leading coefficient in front of our x. All right, in my last example here, I'm going to rewrite off to the side x squared minus 77 equals negative 2x plus 3. So this one, I need it to say equals 0. In order to do that, I'm going to have to move this 2x by adding it to both sides. I'm going to have to move this 3 by subtracting it from both sides. That gets those to cancel out so that this is now a 0. And x squared doesn't combine with anybody. 2x doesn't combine with anybody. And then negative 3 combines with that negative 77 to give us negative 80. So now we're saying negative 80 and a positive 2. This would be a positive 10 times a negative 8. So we can rewrite our trinomial, this guy. We can rewrite it as x plus 10 times x minus 8. And then we set each one equal to 0, so x plus 10 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0, and we solve each. X equals negative 10. X equals positive 8. So those are our two solutions, negative 10, 8.